Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into something that literally affects every single one of us, human memory. We're going to explore how to expand it, how to get it back when it inevitably slips, and even look at some mind-bending theories about the fabric of space-time itself. So let's just get right into it. Okay, let me ask you this. You ever walk into a room super determined and then completely blank on why you're even in there? Or maybe you're chatting with someone and a basic fact is just stuck right on the tip of your tongue. Yeah, me too. It's incredibly frustrating, right? It almost feels like a sudden betrayal by your own mind.
We've all been in that exact spot, greeting a coworker or an acquaintance and having their name just vanish into thin air. It's a genuine pain point. But hey, here is the good news. Science actually tells us we are absolutely not stuck with the memory we have today. Throughout our time together, I'm going to show you some highly practical, actionable hacks to regain and really strengthen your recall.
So here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, lifestyle and brain fuel. 2, advanced hacks and mnemonics. 3, the quantum memory field. 4, Steiner's cosmic memory. And 5, tuning your mind.
All right, starting off with lifestyle and brain fuel.
Look, before we get into the quantum realm, we got to talk about the hardware. Simple physical habits literally dictate your working memory capacity. For example, most adults can hold about 7 items in their head at once, but practicing mindfulness directly increases that capacity. A quick 20-minute power nap? That completely refreshes the brain without that awful groggy feeling. On the flip side, regular alcohol use actually bumps up memory mistakes by a whopping 30% because it actively stops short-term memories from converting into long-term ones. Crazy, right?
To really supercharge things, the sources point us to the Bright Minds Protocol. It's basically a system designed to eliminate the risk factors that are actively stealing your memory. The B stands for optimizing blood flow through exercise, and the R reminds us that as we hit retirement and age, we absolutely must keep learning. The second you stop learning, your brain starts declining. And there's some really fun, weird biological hacks here too. Did you know just smelling rosemary essential oil can alert your brain to memory tasks? Seriously. Or that just finding a reason to laugh every day lowers stress hormones that otherwise kill memory-forming brain cells?
Moving right along to Section 2, Advanced Hacks and Mnemonics.
Okay, so just like hitting the gym, memory improvement requires deliberate heavy lifting, or cognitive load. Engaging in targeted brain training forces your frontal lobe to divide its attention efficiently, which keeps those neural connections super robust.
So, how do we actually do that heavy lifting? Well, we use mnemonics. The sources detail some incredibly practical tricks to essentially hack your brain into remembering. One of the best? Creating totally bizarre, exaggerated mental imagery. Your brain naturally has a novelty bias, meaning it pays attention to weird stuff, so use that to your advantage. Then there's the PEG system, where you attach new info to a numbered list you already know by heart. And of course, rhyming and sentence acronyms. A classic is remembering the Great Lakes with the acronym HOMES. Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. It gives your brain a nice, neat little pattern to grab onto.
And then you have Tony Buzan's concept of mind mapping, which takes this whole idea a massive step further. Instead of just passively reading text, mind mapping forces you to visually organize concepts and establish hierarchies. By actively building this sort of tree of information, you are lighting up multiple areas of your brain all at once, creating way stronger, longer-lasting memory traces. All right, let's zoom way out for Section 3, the quantum memory field. Now we are entering the realm of physics with the holonomic brain theory. Developed by neuroscientist Carl Pribram and physicist David Bohm, this is a seriously mind-bending model. It suggests memory might not just be a matter of physical chemical wiring in your head. Instead, they propose human cognition acts like a holographic storage network. Basically, electric oscillations in your brain's delicate web of dendrites act as wave interference patterns, meaning memory is encoded in waves, literally like a hologram.
To put this in perspective, let's contrast the two paradigms. The old model says your brain is a hard drive. In this view, memories are literal files locked away inside your neural tissue. But the quantum model proposes something completely different. The brain is a tuner. In this framework, memories are actual geometrical patterns out there in space-time, and your brain is just a biological antenna tuning into them through resonance.
There's this profound analogy from the sources that I absolutely love. Think of space-time as a giant vinyl record, and the microtubules, those tiny structures inside your neurons, as the stylus, the record needle.
Your daily life etches grooves into the fabric of space-time. The neurons don't store the music, they just play it back during recall. Recollection is literally just retuning to a pattern that's already out there in the field. How wild is that?
And this theory actually offers a totally fascinating take on hyperthymesia. That's a condition where people have near-perfect autobiographical memory. Under this quantum tuner model, it suggested that an enzyme called CAM-KI acts as an indexing system. So people who remember every single day of their lives, they might just have an exceptionally efficient indexing enzyme that's perfectly tuning in to those space-time signatures without getting overloaded.
Which brings us to Section 4, Steiner's cosmic memory. If we look back at the 1904 writings of Austrian philosopher Rudolf Steiner, we find a completely different lens. He viewed memory not as chemistry or even quantum physics, but as a bridge to the eternal. Steiner argued that the human soul can actually retrieve eternal, cosmic knowledge, not through our everyday physical senses, but by waking up these deeply dormant internal spiritual forces. Right at the center of Steiner's philosophy is the concept of the Akasha Chronicle. He defined this as a massive, metaphysical repository, a permanent history of the entire universe, written in spiritual characters. Now, he claimed this chronicle is completely invisible to our normal physical senses, but it could actually be accessed or read by individuals who develop clairvoyant abilities, allowing them to tap directly into the eternal origins of past events.
Steiner actually mapped this whole concept out across a massive timeline of human consciousness. He wrote that back in the ancient Lemurian epoch, our ancestors had this dreamlike, instinctual consciousness, just sort of absorbing cosmic wisdom without logic. Then, in the Atlantean epoch, the actual faculty of memory started to develop. And finally, in our modern epoch, humans essentially lost that natural clairvoyance. Why? Because we turned our spiritual energy inward to develop our biological brains and logical thinking. So, in Steiner's view, our modern version of memory is basically the evolutionary trade-off for having independent thought.
And finally, Section 5, Tuning Your Mind.
So what does this all mean for us right now? Well, it points to a truly holistic approach to memory. First, you absolutely have to take care of the biological machine. Get your sleep, optimize your diet, maybe go smell some rosemary. Second, actively train your cognitive mind. Use those mnemonics and mind maps to carve out strong mental pathways. And third, acknowledge the broader field. Practice meditation and deep focus to clear the static and become a better tuner. Because honestly, whether your memories are locked in chemical synapses or etched into the cosmic fabric of space-time, optimizing your mind just makes you way better at accessing them.
And this all points toward a pretty incredible future. The sources suggest that if we really start understanding memory as this resonant access model, where the brain is essentially a radio tuner, it could lead to some game-changing biomimetic technologies. We could eventually see entirely new treatments for memory loss that focus on subcellular resonance rather than just chemical pills. It'd be like treating the brain as a receiver that just needs its antenna adjusted.
Which leaves us with a truly profound thought to chew on. If every single action, every thought, and every moment is actively etching a pattern into the field of space-time, and if your brain is simply the tuner, what will you write into the eternal memory of the cosmos today? Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer. Until next time, keep your mind sharp and keep learning.